In the sacred pages of the Chandogya Upanishad, one of the oldest and most profound Vedic texts, there lies a story that changed the understanding of reality forever. This is the extraordinary tale of young Svetaketu and his father Uddalaka Aruni, where one of the four great Mahavakyas, Tat Tvam Asi, that thou art, was first revealed to the humanity. Thousands of years ago, this dialogue between a father and a son unveiled the deepest secret of existence, that the individual soul and the universal soul are one. Today, we journey into this timeless wisdom that continues to transform lives. Svetaketu was the son of the great sage Uddalaka Aruni, whose name appears even in the Mahabharata. At the age of 12, following family tradition, Svetaketu was sent to a Gurukula for his education. For 12 long years, he studied the Vedas under accomplished teachers, mastering every verse, every ritual, every philosophical concept. When Svetaketu returned at 24, he carried himself with the pride of supreme scholarship. He had become one of the most learned young men of his time, respected everywhere for his vast knowledge. But his father Uddalaka, being a wise sage, immediately recognized something troubling. His son's knowledge had bred arrogance. The father understood that such pride would become the greatest obstacle to true wisdom. Knowledge without humility is like a lamp that creates more shadows than light. The humbling question. One day, Uddalaka called his son and asked a question that would shatter Svetaketu's pride and open the door to ultimate truth. Uddalaka, my son, you seem to have great confidence in your learning, but tell me, have you learned that knowledge by which the unheard becomes heard, the unthinkable becomes thinkable, and the unknowable becomes known? Svetaketu's confident expression gradually changes to confusion and humility. Svetaketu was stunned. For the first time, he had realized that there might be something beyond all his scholarly achievements. With newfound humility, he asked his father to teach him this ultimate knowledge. Uddalaka, just as by knowing one lump of clay, you can know all things made of clay, for the differences are only in names, while the reality is clay alone. Similarly, there exists knowledge by which everything in the universe can be known. This was Svetaketu's introduction to the concept of Brahman, one reality from which everything emerges. The 9 sacred analogies begin. What followed were 9 profound analogies, each building upon the last, each revealing deeper layers of truth. Through these simple yet powerful examples, Uddalaka would guide Svetaketu from the world of multiplicity to the recognition of absolute unity. First analogy, clay and pots. Uddalaka, look at these objects, my son. Pot, bowl, plate, they appear different, have different names, different functions. But what is their essential reality? Svetaketu, clay, father. They are all clay. Uddalaka, exactly. The differences exist only in the name and form. The substratum, the essence, is one clay. Similarly, this entire universe, despite appearing as countless different objects, has one essential reality, Sat, or pure existence. Second analogy, gold and ornaments. Uddalaka, whether ring, necklace, or bracelet, when you see gold in one ornament, you know the nature of gold in all ornaments. The forms change, but gold remains gold. This analogy revealed that Brahman is the unchanging essence in all changing forms. Third analogy, the honey and the bees. Uddalaka, watch the bees, Svetaketu. They gather nectar from countless flowers, rose, jasmine, lotus, marigold. But when they create honey, can you tell which drop came from which flower? Svetaketu, No, Father. All nectars merge into one unified honey. Uddalaka. Perfect. Just as individual nectars lose their separate identity to become one honey, all individual beings merge from one Brahma. They may not remember their divine source, but their essence remains the same supreme reality. Fourth analogy. Rivers and ocean. Uddalaka. Rivers flow from mountains through valleys, each with its own name, paths, and characteristics. But when they merge with the ocean, do they retain their individuality? Svetaketu. No. They become the ocean itself. Uddalaka. Similarly, all beings eventually return to their source, Brahman. In deep sleep, in meditation, in death, the individual merges back into the universal. The subtle lessons revealed. As the teaching deepened, Uddalaka introduces Svetaketu to increasingly subtle concepts. The Banyan seed. Uddalaka. Break this Banyan seed, my son. Svetaketu. I see some tiny parts inside. Uddalaka. Break those further. Svetaketu. Now I see nothing further. Uddalaka. That nothing you cannot see is the subtle lessons from which this mighty banyan tree emerges. The invisible is the source of the visible. That subtle essence is Brahman, and from it springs this entire universe. Salt in water. Uddalaka. Put salt in this water and leave it overnight. Uddalaka. Can you see the salt now? Svetaketu. No, Father. But I can taste it everywhere, top, middle, bottom. Uddalaka. Though invisible, salt pervades every drop. Similarly, Brahman, though invisible to the senses, pervades every atom of existence. It is the very self of all beings. The Great Declaration. After each analogy, each demonstration, each revelation of truth, Uddalaka would declare the great Mahakavya that transforms understanding forever. That being which is the subtle essence. In it, all that exists has itself. That is the truth. That is the Atman. That thou art, O Svetaketu. 9 times this sacred phrase was repeated. With each repetition, Svetaketu's understanding deepened. He began to see beyond the apparent diversity to the underlying unity. The wave was recognizing itself as the ocean, the boat was understanding itself as clay. That ultimate reality, Brahman, Tvam, you, the individual consciousness, Asi, are, the eternal connection. This wasn't mere philosophy, it was the direct pointing to truth. You are not separate from the divine, you are the divine expressing itself as you. The transformation and eternal message. In that moment of recognition, Svetaketu's pride dissolved into profound humility and wonder. He realized that what he had been seeking in countless scriptures was never separate from him. The seeker, the seeking, and the sought were one. This ancient wisdom remains as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. In a world of apparent separation, different races, religions, nations, Tat Tvam Asi reminds us that the same divine essence flows through every single being. When we truly understand this Mahakavya, compassion becomes natural. But how can we harm another when we recognize them as our very self? This is the ultimate teaching of the Upanishads. Not, I am divine, but I am divinity itself. Experiencing life through this unique expression, Tat Tvam Asi, that thou art. The truth that transforms seekers into sages, students into the very wisdom they sought. If you like the contents of my channel, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to my channel. For the time being, thank you.